Hello, everyone, and welcome. Live from our headquarters in Montreal, I'm Philip Papineau from the Communications and Culture team at Rodeo FX, and I'm thrilled to be your moderator for today's creative conversation among two industry greats. At Rodeo FX, we believe in the power of imagination, bringing stories to life through artistry, innovation, and collaboration. From visual effects to animation to design, experiential, and advertising, our teams across Montreal, Quebec City, Toronto, Los Angeles, and Paris work together to create worlds that inspire audiences everywhere. We've had the honor of contributing to some of the most visually stunning films and series of recent years, including Dune Part 2, Stranger Things, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, and The Little Mermaid, just to name a few. Today, we're excited to dive into the creative process behind world building, exploring how design, concept art, and production design come together to shape the stories we love. So, without further ado, let's get started with introductions of our incredible panel of artists and visionaries. Our first panelist is a powerhouse of imagination and visual storytelling, Kalina Ivanov, an award-winning production designer whose work has defined some of the most striking worlds in film and television. Most recently, Kalina completed the HBO series The Penguin, created by Matt Reeves and showrunner Lauren Lefranc, earning her a second Art Directors Guild Award and an Emmy nomination. She also brought her creative vision to George Clooney's feature films The Boys in the Boat and The Tender Bar. Her impressive portfolio also includes Wonder, Long Shot, the Emmy-winning 7 Seconds, and a long-time collaboration with Robert Redford on The Conspirator. Earlier in her career, Kalina helped shape beloved modern classics like Little Miss Sunshine, Rabbit Hole, and Smoke. Her visionary designs have been featured in Architectural Digest, Variety, IndieWire, and People magazine, among many others. A testament to her influence on both the art and craft of production design. Joining us from New York, let's welcome the exceptional Kalina Ivanov.
Hello. Hello,
Hello.
everyone.
Hello, Kalina. Our next panelist is a true visionary in the world of cinematic art, Deak Ferrand, the creative force leading Rodeo FX's art department. Deak's recent projects include Blade Runner 2099, where he worked alongside production designer Paul Inglis, and The Hunt for Gollum, directed by Andy Serkis. He has also collaborated closely with Denis Villeneuve and Patrice Vermette on Dune Part 1, 2, and 3. His artistry has earned him industry-wide recognition, including an ADG win for Dune Part 1 in 2022 and an ADG nomination for Dune Part 2 in 25, multiple Emmy and VES honors as well. Originally from Switzerland and classically trained as a painter and sculptor, Deak brings fine artist sensibility to every frame he touches. He's also a proud member of both the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences and the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. Joining us from Los Angeles, let's welcome Deak Ferrand. Bonjour, Deak.
Bonjour. Hi.
So before
Hello.
turning it over to you two for a conversation, I just want to remind all of our participants here on the webinar to submit your questions throughout the webinar. We will tally everything up, and I'll be back towards the end of our session to ask away. One quick note, it would be very helpful to us if you identify whom the question is for, whether Deak, whether Kalina, or perhaps both. On that note, Deak and Kalina, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Philippe. Hi, Kalina.
Hi.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
It's good to see you. It's been a long time since Lovecraft Country,
Yeah.
but again, it was so much fun to work with you on this. And today, I mean, it's a great opportunity again to talk about production design
Mm,
leading to VFX. I think that's the idea. And before we go to talk about everything and go through some of the topics that we want to talk about, I think I can start the demo reel and some images and things that we did together. Not everything, because obviously we would be here for days. I will share my screen
great.
and start the slideshow. So might move this.
That was the team. Yeah.
Yes, that was the team. So I will move this here.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, Kalina, you can, you work with Audra, so I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
you had a big team, and for us, I mean, the art department was at Rodeo FX. Um, Florence, Yvonne, Mayanne, François
Yeah.
worked on the project. François Dumoulin was the VFX supervisor at Rodeo FX at the time, and Kevin Blank was visual effects supervisor for the production. So really, I
Yeah.
mean, this team worked together, a lot, and all the way from pre-prod to the end of the show.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna.
Now, do you have a little video? You have
Yes.
the little video. Yes.
So we're gonna just play the
Great.
demo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I remember all of those effects and visual effects, and it was massive. The show was massive. Uh,
It's
yeah, and every episode was a different anthology. It was every character went through a different time, and and uh, episode 7 was all in the future. That's the only one you don't have. You have all the
yeah,
past.
that's right.
But anyway, I mean, it was just an amazing show to build for and to design for, you know.
Yeah, especially when you see the before and after, how complex
Yes.
the entanglement between your work and visual effects, um, you know, is. You can tell, and the decisions about where is the blue screen, what do you build, what
Yeah.
do you not build. I mean, and you look at it and it's complex. Oh my God.
Yeah. But we were lucky that because we had you before we were greenlit. You know, this is very unusual for a project. And I have to give credit to the producer, to the line producer, Bill Carraro, who brought you, who actually introduced me to you.
Yeah.
And I have heard about you, and he said, "Oh no, you need to meet Dick. Deak will do exactly what you want and more." You
Yeah, no,
know,
absolutely. Yeah. And that
yeah,
was really because of Blade Runner 2049. I think Bill saw that it was beneficial to have a concept artist, bridge the gap of, and I came very late on Blade Runner, but, follow up and be there for the post work. And I think he understood that, he saw the problem on Blade Runner. So that was super nice of him to do that. Uh, because
yeah,
usually
yeah,
you will hire freelancers for to do concepts, but here
exactly.
we were the main VFX company, that we knew we would be working on the post work, but we had also the art department within the company, and we worked together, you know which again was a bit unusual, I think, because normally the art department, there's a very few art departments in the visual effects company, and they will mostly work on post effects.
Exactly. And like this, for example, this, what you have right now on the screen, this was in pre-production before we got greenlit. We found a location for a potential location for the castle. And do you want to go to the next slide? Is it
Yes, because yeah, you know, again, yeah,
yeah,
this is yes, and I always tell the story to everybody. When the first day we met, and we were talking and about, obviously what we're supposed to do, and then you take out your portfolio and you show me this drawing, and then all of
yeah,
a sudden I fell in love with you, because I was like, okay, I'm dealing with a true artist, and she's drawing, and it's beautiful. I mean, and I really wanted, and I thought, well, I'm gonna be faithful to her vision, because it works. It's gorgeous, and now, how do we translate? Because
yeah,
I mean, it's right there. I mean, I don't have to translate anything, but make it to a level, that
yeah,
matches your, and this is taken from your location scout photo, you know
exactly.
you know
Yeah. And from my sketch, and what you did is you made the dome a little bit bigger, and proportionally it worked very well, so I'm very happy with this result, and that's what ended up it being in the project.
yeah, 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 I can't remember why I did that, but
Well, because I mean, really, because the proportions were like that. It
oh,
just worked proportionally better.
yeah.
Yeah, you can see, but I mean, it's like it's beautiful. It's really exactly what I had in mind.
And it's really because I think, when we did this one, that was the first concept, right, that I had done, I think, for the show. And then we had to figure out, because this view was taken, you know,
From
from
the
the
photo.
photo, yeah,
Yeah.
and I had no idea, you know, what the architecture and the layout was really. And I remember you showing me a lot of other scout, you know, photos of
Yeah.
the back of the house and the side of the house, and you know, I knew that you had to shoot all these angles, and I think we, you know, we came up with the idea of let's build it
Yeah.
in 3D anyway, because you know, Hardham Lodge has to be destroyed at one point. Um,
Exactly, exactly. And so this is, I mean, this is a perfect blend of production design and VFX, you know.
yeah, because
And
what was cool, exactly, Kenya, because what was cool is that I was able to feed the model right after you approved the concepts. I was able to feed it directly to
yeah,
Francois, and then you could, you know, I think he started testing FX work for destruction right away, you know.
and what is interesting for our audience to know is that because we did this so early, before we were greenlit, we were able to green light the project because we showed all these concepts to the studio, and
Mhm.
they really saw what we had in mind, and they immediately gave us the green light the next day after
Oh,
we
wow.
turned them in. Yeah, it was very critical work that we did, you and I did,
Oh, that's
to get the project green light. Yeah.
oh,
Hmm.
that's insane.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool. And this is the back of the house,
Yeah.
obviously. But now it works. I mean, and it works for real. I mean, you know,
Yes.
you
Yes.
could shoot any angle, and the addition would fit the
Yeah.
original location. You know.
Exactly.
Here, I mean, you can see. I mean, you can see some of the establishing shots. A bit
Yeah.
different from the angle. It's pretty
Yeah.
short. You know, the back of the house looks pretty much the same.
It looks wonderful. It's really what we had in mind of castle, a 1799 castle. Uh, so it's really beautiful. And this is like the destruction now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Then,
Florence did that. Yeah, and
yeah.
she based
It-
herself on the 3D model. And I remember you were. I
Mhm.
think I'm not sure if you were talking to her, but yeah, you were guiding her about, you know, what would be the angle, because this
Yes.
you knew that this would be mostly a visual effects shot,
Yes.
you know, uh,
Yeah.
and she did a
Yeah.
daylight version. And when you
Yeah.
look at the footage, you know, this would be, I think, full. Maybe there's a live plate, but I'm not even sure. You know, if you
Yeah.
yeah.
All I drew was this.
No, but that's amazing. You know, that's awesome. Well, because I mean, you focused on you know what the action would be, and
Yeah.
you know.
All we had to do practically was this sketch, you know, but the rest of it, it was all done in visual effect.
Mhm, mhm, yeah, you can see. I mean, you know, and this is a guesswork. I mean, when you draw
Yeah.
this, you know, I mean, it might not be accurate what I did at all, because there might be a lot more volume of bricks that would be there. So you know,
Yeah.
I think it was just a guiding thing, because when you look at the shot, I mean, you built, and I should pause on this.
Y-
I mean,
Yeah. I built the foreground.
yeah,
Uh,
before,
Yes, I built that part. Yes, exactly.
and you had pieces of walls, right?
Yes, I had pieces of wall, and I mean, we determined that the portico that was on the front, that would be destroyed, and that we will build that. So that's that column there. Yeah,
So
that,
the portico was here, right?
yeah, exactly. And then the rest of it will collapse on itself, on
Yeah.
its on itself.
And was that shot? Do you remember if the background is from the location plate or no?
Yeah, the background is from the location.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. So again, I mean, you know, for you, I mean, it's a leap of faith, you know, that you want to make sure that in post they understand exactly what you what you want, because in reality, this is your world. This is your thing.
Right,
This you're in control of the entire image. It's again, it's
right.
this, you know, not disconnect, but a huge gap between what you're building and shooting, during production, and then this huge gap of time, before you see the final product,
In post, yeah.
that post.
Yeah. But I had you, I had faith.
No, thank you. And again, I mean, and
Oh, this was a very funny story. This sketch is really there. It's the secret library, and it was a very small room, and in the middle, I'm showing what the room is really. That's the size of the room, but then the rest of it can be expanded by the visual effect. So that's what that sketch is about.
so because the wall in the room where it ends here.
It's really this the middle part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yes.
with
Uh,
the yeah,
yeah. And
yeah,
it's very small room.
yeah. And but yeah, because I mean, you sent me all the reference photos of all your research, and
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, it's there. I mean, I can see what it is from your sketch, so it was pretty easy to
Yes. And
translate.
yes, it was pretty easy to do that. I
Yeah,
mean, all we had is the window, basically,
yeah.
uh, and the rug on the floor, and the fireplace on this side, and the candelabra. All those things are practical, but behind him, where he stays, everything becomes a visual effect.
Hmm.
But I had this idea, of a library, which is a secret library, that was like the Trinity Church in Ireland, has a fantastic library.
Yeah,
So that's what some of this design is based on.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
that's
You tell the story about that. Yeah, it's
that's a great story because it wasn't scripted like that. This is in episode 4 when they go to a museum. Titus has a museum, and they look at all the treasuries, et cetera, et cetera. And in the room, the sunlight, the moonlight falls on the floor, and they go through the floor to discover the world underneath. But in episode 3, we already had done something through the floor, so I was very bothered by that, and I designed instead a sculpture. I said Titus is a I mean, he lived in 1789. He has a huge ego, and everybody that has a huge ego demands a statue of himself, and he'll put it in a museum. And the museum was as a real location. It's one of the few Art Deco buildings in Atlanta. And anyway, we transformed it into a museum. But the sculpture there was in the middle, but then the crocodiles came in. And so the story of that is that Misha said to me, Misha, the showrunner, she said to me, "Oh, you want to write? Well, then you have to figure out all the beats into the into the story." And so I had to figure out where the moonlight, how it hits the tooth of the crocodile, and that's why it turns, and that opens the door, and they go through the door, and they go down a story anyway. But at the end, we ended up with a beautiful sequence. But it started with one innocent sketch of a sculpture.
yeah, that's too funny because it looks much better now. I mean, frankly, because it's filling this empty room, so it works
Exactly.
perfect. And those alligators, crocodiles
Yeah.
that you had sculpted were absolutely gorgeous,
Oh,
gorgeous.
I mean, it was magnificent because we hired a sculptor from LA, and he did a great job. And I remember working with him and going like, "No, more fierce. The crocodiles have to be fierce." You know, I wanted it to be war.
That's,
Uh, so anyway, but I mean, it all worked out, and the effects were really practical, except for the moonlight that hits it.
yeah,
Everything else
yeah,
was
yeah.
practical. you
Yeah.
know.
So you had to, because I remember that you had to build all those niche, I mean, fill the niche
Yes. Yes, fill
thing.
the niche. Yes, everything that behind there was a display, like in the Museum of Natural History in New York. But anyway, I mean, in reality, the location is a supermarket in a way, a
Oh,
contemporary supermarket, and we had to turn it into a period museum.
oh, I
So,
didn't know that. Oh, wow.
yeah, yeah. So
Super.
that's the story of this one.
And that
Oh,
was still in this was still in the same, no, because what
yes,
was in the same place?
it's in the same building, but like the foreground is real.
Yeah,
The background, what you see there, it makes the space much bigger and adds floors to the space.
yeah.
That's second and third floor, you know.
And I don't remember seeing, I mean, I need to rewatch the show, but now I can't remember this shot exists as is or no.
No, the shot doesn't exist. That's you. That's
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was never, they never did this shot.
well, they did the shot, but they did the foreground and they put a green screen in the back, and the
Yeah.
green screen is the back, where
Yeah.
you see the museum, the three-story museum.
But
Yeah.
they copied, I mean, you can see the mammoth and all this. I can't, I don't,
No, there was no mammoth there. There was not, there was nothing,
yeah.
really was
But I mean,
a,
that they added later. Yeah.
yes, they added the mammoth. Yeah. VFX.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, beautiful sketch, and you can talk about this, but um,
That was in episode 6. That was the Korean story. They go to Korea to the War of Korea in 1949, 1951. And we had to do a Korean, encampment, basically, the soldiers, where the soldiers would sleep. And needless to say, Atlanta is not big on Korea. And
yeah,
so, anyway, so I had to design, but the buildings gave me enough to work with, and I had to design the big sign, and the post for the soldiers, and everything to make it look like it's a forbidden zone for Koreans.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Because you build all the way to to the gate, and they
Yeah,
put blue screen behind.
no, no,
Oh,
those were real buildings. Everything was real. We built the gate and the soldier booth where you check in.
yeah,
All that we built in the foreground. But everything was for real there. But the mountains were not.
yeah.
You know,
Okay.
but
Because
yeah,
Florence did this concept based on your sketch.
yeah. And we build everything that he drew, we build it for real, that's in the foreground. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you did the mountains. Yeah.
Okay. So the mountains were done in post, but
Yeah.
everything else was there. Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything. Yeah.
Same
Uh,
thing.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that was that was an extension. That was a perfect case of extending. It was I mean, it was a big grand space, but it went one story. And your team made it a multiple story building. Like there's a famous I mean, department store in Chicago, and
yeah,
that's what this is supposed to be.
yeah. That's what
Yeah,
Yvonne did this one.
yeah,
We can see the shot itself again. I mean, is
great.
seamless. I mean,
Yeah,
look at that.
yeah, it's really beautiful. Yeah.
And then yeah, and then this is, I think it's closing this giant epic fantasy sci-fi horror. I mean, you get everything but the kitchen sink.
Exactly. Everything but the kitchen sink in it. Yeah, that is pure Misha.
Yeah. And Florence had done some tripod design,
Yeah.
and the shot is, I mean,
Oh, it's beautiful.
it's a lot of stuff. And I
It's
think even Yvonne did some design for the creatures.
yeah.
But there's a lot. going on, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh, she's very proud of it.
Oh yeah, that's too funny.
That is the essence of Lovecraft Country.
Yeah,
Uh, this is my sketch for the Korean market. We're back in episode 6 in Korea, 1951, and in Atlanta, they do have a stretch of buildings like that. And I just loved it because I felt like we can use all these buildings and only transform the movie theater and the shops. All we have to do was a lot of facades, but the street was really for real, and it worked really great.
yeah, no, beautiful.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's great. And and then the director came in and said, "Well, where does he die?" And she ended up with a character gets killed, of in the middle of this whole thing, and we ended up building an arch in the middle of the street,
Uh-huh.
where he gets hung from, at the very end.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
So that's something okay, yeah.
I mean, it was done practically,
Uh-huh.
yeah. But the tank really looked like that.
Oh yeah. And this
Yeah.
shot was mostly practical anyway, right?
Yes, it's very practical. So anyway,
So yeah, I mean, again, and I'm skipping, obviously there's so much more that you did for this
yeah,
project.
yeah,
This is a fraction of what you did. And there was also all the creatures, and some creatures are extremely graphic. So I did not want to share that. It's a little bit, strange, but
yeah,
interesting. Um, so yeah, so let's. I mean, I don't know what time it is right now, so we don't have much time because we
yeah,
want to take some questions at 1:45, I think. So
yeah,
let's go through some of the topics that we want to talk about because again, it's about
yeah.
the gap between production design and VFX. So the need of the production designer in post production, that was always a big question that we all had, is that where is the production designer once we enter post, because it's a continuation of your vision, like the DP, the lighting is a continuation of his
Yes,
vision,
yeah.
and that's something that is always missed, and I think that for you too, I think you would love to be able to be there and guide the artists a little bit more than. And I'm not saying that it's not good to rely on the VFX supervisor, but this is now the guy who is, translating your vision, you could say.
I mean, it's really the perpetual problem because the producers don't want to pay for us to be in post-production. It really comes down to money of what it is, and also availability, because very often we jump onto another project, right after that. So, uh, I have, when you're close to the showrunner, like I became very close with Misha Green. She brought me in post, so she fed me some of the stuff, and I was able to chime in post production. If it doesn't happen all the time, put it that way, and it's really necessary. It really needs to be addressed by our industry, and really by a deal has to be made for the designer to be available in post production for a minimal fee. Most of
Mhm.
us will do it for the minimal fee, you know, but we want the to be able to chime in to protect our vision. You
Yeah,
know.
no, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really because, and I can understand the monetary problem, but again, that's it shouldn't, it shouldn't be a big problem if it's a fraction, and it's not like a full, um, full-time job in post. But one thing I wonder, because I had this this thing happened on one of the project. It was the production designers stayed in post and started to have a different vision than the director for,
Oh,
yeah, and we were doing two versions at one.
oh,
So, obviously, and I'm not saying this would happen, but I mean, I lived it and I thought, well, hopefully the director or the showrunner is in line, with
yeah,
the production
yeah.
design. Uh,
I
and
mean,
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
but that problem would happen anyway, during production, you would know. Um, and the again, the benefit of, you know, and that's unusual of concept artists that, are working with you, um, but are there through the entire process, because a lot of time, concept artists that are hired, freelancers working for the art department, with the production designers are not normally they're not even there in post. I mean, they're freelancers, and that's their
exactly.
job.
Yeah. I
So I
mean,
mean, I don't know how I'm, many times this happened to you. This idea that you have somebody at the end. Um,
well, I mean, it doesn't happen very often. To me personally, I can't speak for other designers, but for me, I really, the only outlier is your project working with you so early on, as I said, in pre-production before we were greenlit, and then staying on and working, or your people, same thing, but it's you who has the vision. And that is only with you that I've been able to do that. With most cases, I get the concept artists, they're freelance. By the time uh, the show comes around, they're on another show, you use a different concept artist, et cetera, et cetera. It's a really conundrum. And it's better, I think, to work with a company like yours when that has everything to offer, in that way.
mhm,
Because you have concept artists and you have the supervisors, you have all that on the tip of your hand, and
mhm.
that was very useful to us.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's cool. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because your relationship between, the VFX supervisor. I mean, it's almost like you have to make sure that, uh, you are there with him all the time, because he's going to continue your vision, uh,
Yes.
post. So that's key. That you can work with somebody who listens to you, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I was lucky on the Penguin too. I mean, I had a really good VFX supervisor on the Penguin, so I was lucky there. I mean, I've never, I can't say I've never been unhappy, but it's definitely difference between VFX supervisors. There's a difference,
Hmm.
But the good ones, it really shows. I mean, it really shows in the product.
Yeah,
And
no.
and on the Penguin, for example, he was very imaginative himself, and he added something in post-production that I didn't know about, but it worked perfectly. He added a broken subway car in the subway, and but it really worked out beautifully. So I was very happy about somebody expanding my vision that way,
Oh, well,
Yeah,
yeah, that's great.
yeah,
And that's why, we're that's always the thing where you say, well, the importance of locking the design, making sure that this is it. You can show something and say, do this,
yeah,
don't be creative. Well, I mean, don't be creative. I mean, you can be creative, but I mean, try to follow this, because I don't want to see something that is completely different, at the end. Um, at the same time, if, like you said, if you have a creative, person
yeah.
that understand, that has a good taste, that they can obviously add to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, it's important for the art department to give all the materials to the VFX, that's really important. So That's all I can say.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're 4 minutes, I think, before taking a question.
Oh, okay.
And one question, and we could talk.
Yeah.
We just really started, but I wanted to talk to you about dealing with the volume. You know,
Oh, volume. Uh-huh. Yeah.
so how often did you deal with it, and what's your impression?
Well, I personally, I have not had a chance to do work on the volume except for driving, which is pretty standard. Because I don't do, I've never done a science fiction, a pure science fiction show. I've done this very based on reality shows and expanding on reality. So that's so it hasn't been a need for the volume. I mean, for example, on Lovecraft Country, you were never on one set spend enough time to merit the volume because it's a big investment to build the volume
Yeah.
stage. So I'm not the best person to ask this question in a way, but I am very familiar with the volume, with the technology and what it takes, and the fact that you have to pre-design everything because it has to go on the
Yeah.
show, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's what, and I don't know, what's the percentage now of people using the volume for their show, but it is disruptive in the order of how you work in pre-production. I would assume, just because you have to lock a lot of things before you shoot, rather than, you know, put the green screen, shoot shoot the thing, and then you can figure out the detail. Here you have to have something that looks real, otherwise you're gonna have to do a lot of roto. It's not gonna be fun. um and yeah, um you know I'm trying to think because we have only a few minutes, um but I'm trying to think
Well, I mean, the
about
volume.
yeah.
I mean, I really would like to do a show on the volume. I would like to. If you have a producer who's interested in doing something on volume, and tell him about me. But you know, you can do a lot with visual effects without doing the volume also.
You think I mean, not that there's no benefit. I mean, there's definitely benefit on, if you have a very reflective environment, or you're spending a lot of time in one location, or like this series which took place on this cruiser, this big, boat. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, you're on the deck, you can, do 360.
Well, in 1876, is that the series that you were?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, they did that in a volume. Yes. Well, it's interesting. We had this designer come and speak to us, all designers, on the first gathering that we did in 2022. And it was interesting because they had some problems inside in terms of the big ballroom, how he designed it, and how they had to do very complicated math to align all the projects, and all the stuff in the perspective, and all the lamps and etc. And the lamps that were on the volume had to match the lamps that were practical. So that gave them a bit of a hard time. I'm not sure that it was entirely successful, that
Oh,
one.
oh yeah.
Yeah, in terms of the interior, but in terms of the exteriors was very successful.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's too bad because this is in a way, for you to be able to almost have full control of an environment that in the past would have been done with green screen, and then you kind of lose the control because it goes to post. Here, you can
Yeah.
extend your design and be in control and see it, So it's good, but at the same time,
Yeah.
a little bit maybe more complicated,
Yeah.
you know.
But
So it's a 1:46. I don't know, Philippe, if
Philippe.
is there any questions?
Moderator, are you there?
Yeah, he's there.
Mm. Yes, indeed. It is 4:46 on the East Coast, 1:46 on the West Coast, and we do have a series of questions that have come in.
Okay.
Um, let's start off with a question that is for both. In addition to sketches Kalina drew, what other materials do the art department share with the SFX team?
Okay, with the visual effects team, with,
Yes.
SFX is special effects. Okay, my sketches plus my the camera roll of all the location photos that I took or we had, but we also made 3D models of some of the stuff and that you used, and all the drafting that we had for if it was an interior set.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean that's
And
about it, right?
yeah, and you had a Bible that you made. Obviously, the
Yes,
PDF was a way for us to always go back because you put everything in there.
yes,
Reference photos, moods, textures,
yes.
things like
Yeah.
this, materials sometimes.
My art director, my supervising art director, Audra, she was in charge of that. She was
Okay,
in charge
great.
of the Bible. Yes.
Okay, great. It was beautiful, and that's something that obviously we need as concept artists, uh,
Yeah.
because it seems that almost 100% of the information is there for us to understand. And I think you were giving us SketchUp models
Yes.
of all the sets, just to make sure that even when we were doing the exterior, and like we were talking about this, the Ardham Lodge, the big dome at the top of it, that
Yeah.
you were saying that uh, the I think the set is, what did you say? The set is bigger or small? It's bigger than
No,
the
no, the
exterior.
set is smaller.
It's
The set is
smaller than the
smaller.
exterior. Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't really feel that way, you
And
know.
that's fine, right? I mean,
Yes.
we have to cheat.
Yes,
Something.
exactly.
And it's
We
okay.
cheated.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Next question is for Deak. What are the programs you and your team use for your work? Programs, I suppose we're meaning software here. What
Yeah,
softwares do you use?
yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny because we used to go in Photoshop most of the time and do 2D photo bashing artwork, and more. And today I will say 95% of my work is in 3D, and I will finish it in Photoshop. But you have to have 3D because you're sharing the moment, whatever you're doing, the environment or the ship, or whatever it is approved. You need to be able to send an FBX directly to the production designer with a meter cube, just to, for them to redraft the entire thing where they know exactly how to build a portion of the set, or the entire thing. So today you can't just do, and I love 2D work, but you just can't do that.
It's
It's
3D.
impossible. Yeah, it's 3D.
Yeah.
Now let's go over to Kalina. When you suggest ideas, such as the statue in the museum, what is your creative dialogue with the production team? Who do you show your visions for the show to? The director or the producer? Or producer? A producer, I suppose. I suppose that's a typo. Yes, the director or the producer. What is the process of?
Well, I'd like to keep the producers as far as possible from because they only worry about money, you know. Um, well, when I developed the idea, I showed it first to Misha because I was rewriting her script. So this was very critical to understand. I was stepping on her toes as a writer, so I only showed it to her, the concept. And then to Bill, and how we figure out how to make it. But she has to get on board, and then I will show it to the line producer. But he very often, I mean, Bill was sneaky because, I mean, sneaky. I mean that I mean that in a good way. But because he will come through the art department and he will notice the drawing that I'm doing, and he says, "Oh, what is that?" So anyway, but yeah, that's the process.
Question for both. Where do you guys start? What do you talk about when you first begin collaborating at the beginning of a project? I guess does it spark, and where do you pick up from?
Hmm.
But you mean between
Between the two of us,
the
yeah.
motion designer
Yeah.
and the concept artist? It's funny because me personally, I'm coming fresh, right? I know nothing, and you obviously you've been in there for a while. You know what's happening. So for me, it's simple. I have to listen first. I have to listen to you, uh, and I don't like a lot of time. It's like, okay, but here's the script, and it's like, no, 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 no. I don't want the script because the script is kind of cold. I need to hear something that has emotion. I need to understand the emotion, and from you and the showrunner. But again, I mean, if I'm working for you, uh, I need one voice.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember our first conversation, but it must have been very like, hi, how are you? And then jump right in.
Yeah, but it was funny because it was almost like I had known you for a long time. But you're very approachable,
Yes. Yeah.
obviously, but you totally embraced me in terms of, okay, come in. It felt really good. So it was the easiest thing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how else to be. I mean, I love having the concept artist that early on show. So I was like a kid in a candy store, you know.
All right, let's take the next question towards Kalina. What was the timeline like on this project? I'm not sure which project we're referring to, but what is the timeline like on a project? How much time did you have, or do you have for pre-production, shoot, wrap, and post-production?
Okay. Okay. So the Lovecraft Country specifically, I was hired sometime in November. I went on vacation and then came back in December to do a preliminary scouting. So I was doing preliminary scouting in December, January, February, 3 months. And in January, we opened a tiny art department. We opened, it was a different art director, supervising art director, a draftsperson, and maybe two. And that was the art department, and PA. All right. And I kept going to Atlanta from LA to scout and then coming back to LA to show Nisha. And she was writing the scripts and we were not greenlit yet. And that's when it dawned on me that if they see visuals, they will approve this project, HBO, they being HBO. And I was drawing meanwhile, et cetera, et cetera. So we got greenlit in March officially and started, but I've already done a lot of the legwork to the project. I really have found a lot of the locations. So those extra 3 months that I had were critical to the success of the project because once you started in March, 4th or whatever, there it was the shooting once we start shooting in May, episode 2, and it was relentless, and that was basically the time frame, but we went from December through January of the following year, of the December, I trying to remember, December 2019 to January 2021, you know, we went a long time. Yeah. And that was similar with the Penguin. I had a similar schedule. But HBO is good because HBO gives you a little bit more time to figure out things, to really figure them out before you go out in the regular prep schedule. Yeah.
Excellent. Somebody's asking two separate questions here that I can perhaps paraphrase together. So multi-pronged. So how do you decide which sets, or even specifically which parts of a set, would be practical or visual effects? Does it come down to budget, perhaps? And at the same time, whatever you're creating, do you find that the sets that you create are pretty true to your original sketches, or does it constantly evolve and perhaps veer away from your vision?
Uh, I'm gathering it's directed at me, right?
Correct.
I don't want to jump in. Okay, how do I? Okay, read me. Okay, I'll start. I'll address the second part because I remember the second part, and that is hopefully by the time the color concept is done, by the time I'm through with the green with the black and white sketches and the color concept is done, hopefully that is the set. Very rarely do we change from that, and you can see it with you can see everything Deak showed you was exactly like I imagined it. What was the first part of the question now?
The first part of a question I brought was, how do
Yeah,
you decide which
how do you
sets
decide
are
it?
even specifically, which parts
Oh,
of a set are practical or
I
to be
see. I
visual
see.
effects?
Yeah. Oh, that really, well, some of it is budget, but that really depends on the show in a sense. So in Lovecraft Country, we pretty much knew what they would be like. The major exteriors always would be VFX. So you see a lot of the exterior work, but they were interior. I mean, I love the fire. The fire that you did. That was amazing because you see it inside a corridor, this all-consuming fire that Misha had written, and then you also see it when she walks down in 1929 in Tulsa. That was the Tulsa massacre, which is a historical event for Black people, very traumatic. Anyway, and there was a connection between the fire, and you see the fire inside and the fire outside. And Deek, you can speak to that, but it's really the exteriors where you mostly come in.
Yeah, well, yeah. Hopefully, I mean, yeah. I mean, you. That's the thing. It's between you and the VFX supervisor to know, who takes over what
Yeah,
in terms of budget, because all of a sudden, it's really about money.
yeah.
I would say.
We're 2 minutes to go to the hour, so we probably should wrap up with the next question, which is a big one. It's a hot topic around the world. What are your thoughts on artificial intelligence, and do you integrate it inside of your work?
To whom is the
To
question?
both of you. To both of you. The question is actually directed to both of you.
Okay, go Deek.
Because we're having, I mean, yesterday we had like a meeting about that, about the AI, and I didn't know, but we realized that the new Photoshop beta has a
Hey,
banana built in it. Um, my feeling, I think it's great. It's great. Now, for me, I'm enjoying the process of making the final product, the image that I show or whatever it is. When it's done, I don't care. Let's move on. What is really cool, and the struggles, everything, the problems that I encounter is when I make the image. So if I lose that, I mean, there's no interest for me. I'm not a writer. I'm a, I'm a, I can draw, I can sculpt, I can paint, but I can't write. So I'm not into writing prompts. So it's just not interesting in terms of how to come up with the image. For me, but that's it. I want to know my limitation. I know my limitations as an artist. I want to improve. I want to get better. With AI, I'm not sure how I could gauge where I am and the learning journey that I'm on.
okay.
And Kalina would not need me anymore because Kalina, I know, because you could take your beautiful sketch that you draw by hand
Yeah, I
and
can
keep
feed it
that
in.
sketch.
Yes, I can feed it into that, and yeah. But I always think, look, AI is great. You know, there is very sexy, and anything that's sexy doesn't die very easy. You know, but the truth of it is that the human brain, there's nothing like the human brain, and there's nothing like talent, and talent comes with the work that we do, with the conversations that we have between Deak and I, or me and other concept artists, and that AI cannot replace. But you know, I would say it's very good for brainstorming. AI is very good for brainstorming, for when you don't know what you want, you know, to figure out. But then always take it to a concept artist and develop it further. Keep pushing.
All right. Well, excellent. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you very much, Kalina and Deak, for this wonderful conversation. Amongst the questions, there's some people have expressed their gratitude, people
Oh,
from
good.
Uruguay and other parts of the world, thanking you for having their minds blown by the conversation today. So
Oh, that's cool. But
just
no,
wanted to convey
I,
that to you
oh, that's awesome.
in thanking you again for your time, and thank you everyone for your participation in
Yeah,
attendance and in questions. We really appreciated it.
no, that's great. Thank you, Philippe. Huh? Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. And thank you to the audience, obviously.
Thank you. Yeah, very
Absolutely.
And
much.
Kalina, always a pleasure to
Thank you.
talk to you.
Thank you, everyone. Happy weekend
Yes.
for you all, as it is a Friday late afternoon on the East Coast, and soon enough, cocktail hour for Deek on the West Coast.
Oh, well, yeah,
But
still
since
happens.
this is an international audience, it's 5 o'clock somewhere around the world. Let's sign off on that note, and have yourselves a great day. Cheers.
Thank you so much. Bye, Kalina. Bye, Philippe.